So I got this Axiom Hex, heard really good things about this, but I haven't thrown it. So let's see how it flies. Oh, and it's really windy today. Like 20, 25 mile per hour winds with gusts up to 30, 35 mile per hour. But we should still see how it goes. So let's do this. Yeah, so when you first get a hold of the disc, the first thing you're gonna notice is this thing is shallow. And it's definitely on the levels of the EMAC Truth. If you've ever thrown those, it's definitely that shallow. The rim is a little bit wider. It has a nice curve around the edge. But the other thing to note about this, if you've never thrown an MVP disc before, or Axiom, they're made by the same company, is they have these little engravings on the side. So it says like the Hex, so it gives you the model of the disc, the PDGA approved, Axiom discs, and then their gyro technology just on the outside of the rim. You don't notice that when you grip it at all very much. Like you might notice it a little bit, but it's not a deal breaker at all. It's not gonna mess up your grip, and there's definitely places you can grip it without that. The other thing is they've got these little kind of like marks from where they injected in the injection molding for the rim. And that you do kind of notice a little bit, but again, there's only one spot or two spots. There's two spots on the disc. One of them's even like is cleaned off pretty well, so you don't even notice. So only one of them I've noticed in the grip, and it's like you grip it, you feel it, you move your hand like 3 inches, and it's fine. So that's a moot point for me, but it's one of those things to note. But it feels pretty good. This plastic is a nice grip to it. It's not too gummy, not too stiff. A good premium plastic. Feels pretty good, so yeah. Did y'all see that? I like barely threw that and I went like 50 feet past. But if you didn't see, I threw it flat and it just kind of drifted a little bit to the right and then kind of finished a little at the end. And that is a really nice flight. That kind of flight can go in anyone's bag. So I've only thrown this for a few holes now, but first thing I can tell you is this thing goes a long way. I feel like I'm throwing this pretty effortlessly and it just keeps going and going and going, keeps gliding, pushing forward, doesn't turn and burn, doesn't fade out. It's looking good so far. All right, so after throwing this disc, it's actually a lot more stable than I had originally anticipated it being. I was thinking this was gonna be a really good beginner disc, nice and flippy, but still useful for some bigger arms or advanced pro players. But it's a lot more stable than I had anticipated. So when I threw it on a hyzer, it popped up a little bit, and you can see it was trying to pop up. So maybe if I threw it in a headwind, it would turn over, but it just kind of popped up to straight and flat and then hyzered out. And then you throw it flat, and it might turn a little bit to the right when you throw it flat, but it'll come back and finish strong at the end. And then when I threw it on an anhyzer, it didn't even hold the anhyzer the entire way. It kind of almost came out. I threw it a little bit high, but it still fought out of it and came out and finished to the left and had a strong finish. So I heard this is a really good beginner disc, and I can see beginners throwing it, but it would still be pretty stable depending on how beginner level you are. I know some beginners can still just rip a disc pretty far for beginners. So if you have a big, strong arm right when you start out, this might be good, but it's actually pretty stable from what maybe I got a weird one, but it is really nice and shallow for forehand. So you get a good clean release, but I really liked it, but it's just one of those discs that I was thinking it was gonna be a little less stable and more beginner friendly, but I would go a little bit less stable for this when recommending discs for beginners. But yeah, have you thrown the Hex? Do you like it? Do you throw it? I really liked it, but it's just not as a beginner-friendly disc than I thought it would be. What discs would you recommend for beginners if it's not the Hex? But This is a solid disc. See you in the next one.